রেস্টুরেন্ট সহ বিভিন্ন ধরনের ব্যবসার সাথে সম্পৃক্ত বাঙালি কমিউনিটির ব্যবসা পরিচালনার ক্ষেত্রে বিভিন্ন বিষয়ে প্রয়োজন হয় সুনির্দিষ্ট পরামর্শের, আর সেই চাহিদার কথা বিবেচনায় রেখে অনেকেই আজকাল সমন্বিত সেবা নিয়ে এগিয়ে এসেছেন। ইউটিলিটি সাশ্রয়, সঠিক বীমা বা ইন্স্যুরেন্স গ্রহণ থেকে শুরু করে টেলিকমিউনিকেশন সেক্টরে ব্যবসা বাণিজ্যের প্রসার ঘটাতে কাজ করছে অসংখ্য বাঙালি প্রতিষ্ঠান। বিজনেস টুডের পক্ষ থেকে আমরা মুখোমুখি হয়েছিলাম বার্মিংহামে ব্যবসা পরিচালনা করছেন এমন দুজন ব্যবসায়ীর। ব্রিটেনে বাঙালি কমিউনিটির এ ধরনের ব্যবসায়িক উদ্যোগ নিয়ে আমাদের ধারাবাহিক অনুষ্ঠানমালার আজ দেখুন প্রথম পর্ব।
Your business requires insurance in terms of loss of business, contents, whether it's building insurance, bricks and mortar. It's a very important factor when you're running a business. Depending on the industry, you probably need professional indemnity. Professional indemnity is a very important requirement. Say for example, if you're an accountant, solicitor, you need those type of insurance in place. So it's protecting you, giving advice to others. So depending on the business, it's very important. For every business, I think it is the very important requirement. We have certain schemes for restaurant insurance, whether it's a landlord-owned part or just the buildings and contents, whether it's just contents, business interruption, employees liability, public liability for all types of businesses. A lot of restaurants are either they're not adequately insured or they're not insured at all, and there's very serious consequences of not having insurance in place. So our focus is mainly within the Bengali restaurant industry at the moment. And it's not actually expensive, but people perceive it as insurance is a non-requirement, but although it is a very important requirement of your business. So our focus is mainly on any types of business, but however we're concentrating a bit more on the restaurant industry. I feel a lot of people think they're only paying for paper because, years ago they don't really get anything back from the insurance. But what they don't realize, and we've seen incidents like this, there's an incident, maybe a customer slipped, made a claim, the council gets involved and all sorts of issues arise. You get solicitor's letter, legal letters coming in. But more importantly is, imagine you having a business where you've put your life saving in and it has burned down. Allah nahruk, it has burned down. Can you imagine the consequences then? And people only realize at that time how important the insurance is. People are not taking adequate advice when they're doing insurance. A lot of people go online and fill in an online application form for an insurance policy. What they're doing is they're answering the questions which they feel will keep their premium down, but in fact they're making themselves uninsured. So they're actually buying paper then. And that's why a lot of people, when they go to claim, when they go to make a claim, they don't actually get compensated correctly, or if not, they're not insured at that time. That's when it comes to light. Where if you go to a broker, we are a broker and an underwriting company. So when we are doing a policy, we look at what your requirements. So it's not just having an insurance policy, it's what requirement you need and answering those questions correctly in terms of the policy being underwritten correctly. So those are the important things people don't realize, but they are very important to answer the questions correctly. Bengali community is very heavily involved in the restaurant industry. and we have some very many successful restaurants within the restaurant industry run and managed by Bangladeshis. I can say the Bengalis are the leaders in that industry. We've concentrated mainly on that industry because I've seen that there is a requirement for good, adequate insurance within the industry, and it's an industry that we understand very well as well. It's close to our heart. So never mind, we do other industries, but we do want to focus on that. We have schemes available and built around restaurants simply because it is quite close to our heart. My message would be, please make sure your business is your dream. Many people put the life saving into it, but when it comes to doing an insurance, it's a simple thing to do, is an insurance, and they sort of ignore it. It's very important to keep your business, your dream, protected, and get an adequate insurance, the correct insurance, and the correct insurance is not always expensive.
Basically, what we do is we are buying energy direct from the wholesale market, and we're trying to apply that to mostly our restaurant-based customers, because we know there's a lot of savings there to be made. We all come from the restaurant background, you see, and we've seen ourselves when the bills, we use a lot of gas, a lot of electricity, and we may have problems of other companies, etc. Cost-effective, efficient service to customers, and we do this by getting the consumption, their current consumption from them, and analysing it. We are not clued up on the energy side of things. When we turn a light on, we don't understand what's happening to that. We don't understand the unit rates. We don't understand what we're getting charged per kilowatt and how that can change the market and all that sort of stuff. So what we can offer is we say to you, right, okay, this is what you're getting charged at the minute. This is why you may be getting charged and how the rates can change on a weekly basis. Because the rates are live, you see, they go on the stock market, and we monitor all that. We have all the equipment, all the facilities, all the top of the range facilities there to monitor the stock growth on energy, etc., and how that impacts on the market. A lot of companies offer a yearly contract, and most Bengalis, we know, they won't want to go on a yearly contract. But what they don't realise is that's a negative effect on them, and that's purely because what if after 1 year's time the rate of the energy goes up in the market? So when you go to renew your contract, you're paying through the roof. So what we try and do, we advise the customer, say, look, okay, Mr. So-and-so, you're going to save this much for 1 year, but over 2 years we can offer you this. Yes, the saving may look less, but imagine if the price went up the year after that, and what you're going to do about it. So wouldn't you like to secure it in place now? So we offer advice like that, whether it's a 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 year deal. And what we're trying to do is implement, especially in the restaurant industry, a collective side of energy. And what I mean by collective is put in a group of restaurants, if we can get enough restaurants on board, and we can use that buying power to go and get energy and pass the savings on to them, even which they can't get from anywhere else. They cannot get that direct with a supplier. They can get that from us. Dissatisfied, I think, because they don't understand the market and how it works. No one, even before we come into this game, and we really, before I researched it myself or analysed it myself, I didn't understand, well, why are the prices at this 1 minute and then 2 days later they've gone up or they've gone down? Why can't they not just offer me the cheapest price then and then? Well, but it always fluctuates in the stock market, you see. And the confusion bit comes from that, and also the confusion comes from the bills and people's assumptions of things. Well, I'm using people think, especially myself, and my dad's even done it as well. Where we go and we think, well, we're not using that much gas and electricity. So what I advise on that is, well, I've strictly adhered to this. Is every month, towards the end of the month, whoever your supplier is at the minute, give a meter reading so you can get an accurate consumption of what you're using. So if you do not give that, they base your consumption on estimate, and you could be charged a lot or you could be charged a lot less. And then what happens to that is, when they do come and, the meter agents that come around and they do come and meter reading, and let's say they charge you a lot less and they find that you used a lot more, you can end up with a very, very big bill. And this is why people get confused. They don't understand how important that is to any business. To give a meter reading with accurate information so they can bill you on what you're using. And so, this is what we advise, and this is what we would do. We would tell the customer, look, I'll even show them how to do it. If people don't know, I'll show them how to do it. And the other thing is, bills are very, very confusing. There's a lot of jargon on there, etc. But that's why I'm here. I can make it simple, and I can always explain to people. Yeah, the telecommunications is basically what we do. We're a business group. It's part of our group of businesses. And telecommunications, we're working mainly on office-based people that are using more than 2 or 3 lines, right? So where we can actually go and identify what they need in terms of, okay, if they're using broadband, what sort of broadband do they need? If they're running an office and they need everything to be up to date, be fast when they're exchanging information, exchanging details, or uploading and downloading, we can provide all that system in place with top of the range phones. If you've got a call center, for example, they like to monitor who's taking the calls, who's making the calls, how long they're on the calls for, and how many numbers are being, how many phone calls are being made each day, and you can monitor that to each different person.